Welcome to EP Daily. Today on the show, we join the Battle of Jakku in the rundown.
Plus, we construct or assemble a look at the new game, Lego Marvel's Avengers.
And then Scott checks out the new Ratchet and Clank game based on the movie, based on the game.
I've always dreamt of being a galactic ranger, doing big things like Captain Quark.
You don't have what it takes.
Also coming up, Gargoyles come to life at the classic cartridge review. We use the Animus to travel back in time to season 17 of EP, and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Marissa Roberto, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Just a friendly reminder that EP Daily will no longer be on City and G4 Canada starting next year, but the best way you can support us is by heading over to our YouTube page at youtube.com/EPNTV, where you can subscribe and like and maybe send me a nice comment. That'd be cool, but right now it's time for the rundown. Star Wars Battlefront players can awaken the Force a little early. The new Battle of Jakku DLC is now available for all players of the game, following its debut last week for Season Pass holders. The DLC includes the new Turning Point game mode, which serves as a prequel to The Force Awakens. It shows the epic battle between the Empire and Rebellion that turns the desert world of Jakku into the starship-littered wasteland that you'll see in the new film. It's also a role reversal from the other modes, with the Imperials playing defense and the Rebels advancing against their fortified positions. The Jakku DLC also includes a second map that can be played in the older game modes. Best of all, the DLC is free. That may be EA's way of making amends after many players complained that the game didn't have enough content at launch. The Force Awakens is just around the corner, but there's plenty of Star Wars coming to the small screen as well. The animated series Star Wars Rebels has officially been renewed for a third season. Since the show takes place between the prequels and the original trilogy, the new season will bring the characters and universe closer and closer to the events of the first Star Wars movie. Fans are also hoping that it will include the long-awaited showdown between Darth Vader and his former Jedi apprentice, Ahsoka Tano. We'll find out when Rebels Season 3 premieres next year. Before you start worrying about Season 3, though, Season 2 has to come to an end. The finale airs this Sunday.
I'm in.
That's it for the rundown. Now, look who is to join me. You are not wearing a Star Wars shirt of any kind. I don't understand why.
Just a couple of my rocket-loving friends.
Actually, I like that one too, but we're not talking about him
Yes,
today.
okay.
We're not talking about that at all. We are talking about Star Wars!
Star Wars!
First of all, let's talk about Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm excited about this. You love Star Wars Rebels. I love Star Wars
I'm
Rebels.
way behind though, and I hate to admit that, but I am definitely going to binge like crazy. I'll probably wait till they finish Season 2 and just get myself all caught up.
To see Ahsoka take on Vader,
Awesome.
That would be really cool
Yes.
if that goes down. Fingers crossed for that one. You know, I'm just really excited that there is actually a universe that's been created for everyone to enjoy,
Yeah.
like kids and adults, and that they can really hold on to. It's a really good series.
It's an excellent series, and so is the Clone Wars, and that's a great point because obviously the movie The Force Awakens, and I think probably subsequent films are going to be PG-13, so they're not really for the young kids. So, you know, I have a daughter. I'm looking forward to probably introducing her to Star Wars through the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Well, she cannot be ensconced in the Battlefront.
No. We do not play Battlefront together. But Star Wars Battlefront, as many of you already know, is an addiction of mine, and I don't plan on curing it. But the Battle of Jakku is terrific, and it's a great step forward for DICE and EA to, I think, silence the critics, or at least appease the critics out there that feel that they shipped Battlefront with not enough modes or content. I've put dozens and dozens of hours into the original stuff, but Jakku is cool because it's the world that we see as Rey is speeding along in the trailers and stuff. She's got that very squared off bike.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this huge interstellar battle and Star Destroyers crashing onto the ground.
Yeah.
And this is a winner, man. And this is going to be a game that's going to have a very, very long lifespan.
For sure, definitely. There's so many people out there playing this thing, and I'm going to keep playing it too. It's just,
I'm one of them.
I know you are, Richard Lucas. We've got to move it right along, though, because we've got to go to Lego Marvel's Avengers.
As if you couldn't tell from the character behind me, we are talking about a Lego Marvel Avengers. It seems like a perfect fit for the Lego world. What is happening in Lego Marvel Avengers?
Yeah, it's a fantastic one for us, because what we're going to do in this time round is we're actually telling the whole of the story of not only the Avengers, but also Age of Ultron, and then more. But of course, it's with the Lego spin. So we get to do those scenes that everyone knows and loves from the movies, but with added Lego humor, with things that you won't expect. and then just really dig into the Avengers franchise. It's kind of an amazing kind of group of characters that we can include. So you've got your old favourites like Iron Man, Hulk, but we're really going big on the characters. So there's over 100 characters in the game that aren't in the other LEGO Marvel titles. So we're really going big. There's so much content we want to include.
We talked about this game at E3, but you guys have been recently announcing some new things as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the kind of things that excite me the most. It's the weird cameo stuff, the new characters, the new abilities that the various characters can do. So, you know, we've announced all the various suit-ups. So for the first time, you know, Tony Stark, you can press a button, you bring up the inside of his helmet. We call it the Jarvis wheel internally. And then you can basically pick a suit. So you can pick the Mark V, and then it'll come back out, and suitcase pops out, it'll kick it open, you know, put it on just like an Iron Man 2. We got the like Silver Centurion Mark 33, Mark 42, Mark 43, loads of different Iron Man suits, basically.
How much fun is it for you guys to get to consistently bring out these games and make these tweaks and subtle adjustments that could just be one of the coolest things that we've seen in a LEGO game?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. We're so privileged to kind of be able to work on these titles because we're massive fans of anyway. So we're massive Marvel fans, and then someone says, "Okay, you now get to work on a game. You're coming to work to do what you love anyway, and then just what can you do?" And the team just spent so much time digging into the history, really finding the nooks and crannies that like the vast majority of people are going to have no idea. But then we get to go, hey, look at this really cool thing. And we're hoping it's kind of going to inspire some people. They might see a character they didn't know about and go, actually, I want to find out more about that. Let's see what they can do.
I've been at TC for 17, 18 years, so a long time. And it really is true that every single day I go in the office is different. You'd think now that it would be like going in the office, doing my thing, but it's not. Every day is different. And especially when you work at a great property like Marvel's Avengers, there's so much you can do with it. Look at the characters. It's so cool, you know. And it's not just your Iron Mans and your Captain Americas. It's top to bottom throughout the game. The characters kind of make this thing. I love it. I love doing what we do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how LEGO Marvel's Avengers does now in the wake of LEGO Dimensions. Are people LEGO'd out with all of the LEGO options, or is this going to be a big hit too?
I don't know. I don't know if you can ever get really sick of LEGO.
No.
That's the thing.
Comes up in January.
That's right. So far we've had Star Wars and Marvel mixed LEGO. Coming up next, though, we're going to way back Playback with Gargoyles.
This episode of EP Daily is brought to you by Collective Minds, the makers of the PS4 Cool and Charge stand and the Xbox One Media Hub, available at EB Games.
Imperial, incoming!
Hello, I'm Niklas Figreus, design director of Star Wars Battlefront. And my Star Wars memory that I want to share with you is when I visited the Lucasfilm archives, walking into these sacred halls of all the cool props from the original films and all kinds of amazing stuff. And I was there to get some photo reference for making the game. So I wanted to get a reference of a big rebel ship. And I was crawling to get a good picture underneath, but I had to crawl under the original Star Destroyer to get the picture. And I have never been so afraid in my life, because crawling on my knees, almost stumbling, that would have destroyed the Star Destroyer. But I didn't. I survived. And that's a good memory. So thank you. I hope to see you on the Battlefront in November.
Thank you, Nicholas. And listen, he actually provided us 3 exclusive tips for playing Star Wars Battlefront that you can find only on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/EPNTV.
Very cool. We've got another little playlist there for you. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's the classic cartridge review playlist.
Yep.
Let's add another one to the list.
Today's classic cartridge is one I've been looking forward to playing for maybe about 40 years at this point. This is Gargoyles for the Sega Genesis. You and I, as we have discussed many times on this show, are Super Nintendo men.
Yep.
But this was one of the Genesis titles that I would read about in magazines, and I got very excited about it. And it was one of those titles that made me wish that I owned a Genesis.
Yeah, and it came out in 1995 for the Sega Genesis. So if you can imagine, and there was supposed to be a Super Nintendo port that never happened. I can't really call this this a classic now after spending some real time with this game because it's unbelievably difficult. But what you can really appreciate is the art in this game is astounding.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me really appreciate the power of the Genesis.
Yes.
Because it was really, you can feel the machine even from 20 years ago just working to get this game moving and out the door, and it looks fantastic. It really pops off the screen.
Yeah, it's based on the Gargoyles animated show, which was out around the same time as the... I watched a little bit, and I can't remember any of the plotline stuff, but it was an acclaimed show in much the same vein that the Batman animated series was so well received back in their day. They used to be talked about in the same tones all the time. That was another reason why I wanted to jump into this game. And I've had this thing in my collection, but I've never played it until now. And, you know, to sit down and see the animation of the gargoyle jumping up and a couple of wing strokes and he's flying and he's grappling on walls and jumping up, and there's so much mobility and so many frames of animation and the way that you can maneuver around everything. But therein also lies one of the issues of the game. You're kind of a four-legged creature with wings. You're not a tiny sprite, you know, like a human sprite. You're this creature that takes up physical space on the screen, and you're constantly missing platforms and constantly getting hung up on obstructions. I was just getting interminably frustrated. You know, trying to sort of progress through the game. It's very, very challenging.
It kind of feels like if Castlevania and Super Mario 64 made a baby.
Sort of, yeah.
The result would be this game. Both of those games have more going on than this game has going on.
Yeah, and they're way easier to control than this game.
But, you know, I kind of got into learning how to control my gargoyle. Like, I love that one uppercut he throws like that. But the one thing I didn't like was when the enemies die in the game, they always scream like women.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would too if a gargoyle was killing me.
Well, those were women that you were killing.
I was killing women. I don't even know why.
And I know, and then it feels like they're the only ones that scream, which is kind of weird.
Can I kill some men, please?
You fight Vikings, you fight robots. It's in the past, it's in hell, it's in Manhattan. It goes all over the place, and there's a real kind of expanse of visuals and things to do in this sucker. But just be prepared. Like I did, I'm going to confess something. I looked for some cheat codes so I could get
cheat codes
to a couple places.
That's
and
You're off the show.
You could readily find those, by the way. This thing was owning me. It was just slapping me around. I couldn't get past some of the. I
had no problems.
I know your VHS series. I got to watch it still.
What are you going to score this?
It's still fun. It's still a great sort of game to kind of dig up, especially if you've got it in your collection, haven't looked at it for a long time. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I was glad to finally get to know gargoyles, but I'm also glad that I was mostly a Super Nintendo guy. I'm going to give it a 7 as well.
Gargoyles. Okay, so landmark animation on TV and landmark animation on the Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yep, very
Love
cool
it.
property. Hey, listen, we are going back in time with a segment that we're calling 25 Seasons in 25 Days, which is, of course, celebrating our 25th season. This one's from season 17. It's when Julie Stouffer interviewed Jade Raymond about Assassin's Creed.
The infamous Jade Raymond, and we all love you at EP, of course, and we wish that you weren't so busy with Assassin's Creed because we never get to see you anymore.
I know, it makes me sad. It's like working with EP is so much fun, but you know, working on Assassin's Creed,
it's better. Don't lie, it's better.
It's not too shabby.
You're making games, dude. You got the greatest job in the world. I want to talk about the game because I'm so excited for it. I mean, you have got so much hype behind everything that's going on. Just give me a rundown on the game and where it's at right now.
Okay, well, Assassin's Creed, you play an assassin, right? And we talked a lot about our main goal, which is not just delivering a next-gen game that's better graphics or whatever. We've really built this franchise to be the first next-gen franchise. Because we think, you know, people spent a lot of money on their consoles. They want something different. They want new gameplay. So as an assassin, you have incredible abilities. You can climb absolutely everywhere. You're like a free runner, and you really own the city. You can go wherever you want. And then on top of that, you have a ton of fighting moves, incredible AI, chases on the rooftop, escape sequence, a lot of adrenaline. And then the weapons, we have like what I think is the coolest weapon ever, which is your hidden dagger, which is what you use to assassinate. It's like the very stealthy thing. It's built into your hand. And then of course you have your fists. You have a sword, and you have these throwing knives, which are your kind of long-range weapon, and that's how you can really kind of in a stealthy way get rid of the guys on the rooftops and make your way around.
Would you say the majority of the gameplay takes place outside, or are there indoor environments? Is it half and half?
Most of it is outside, but when you find your targets, we've created a lot of indoor specific environments because when you have to find these important guys, they're often not wandering around in the marketplace. So part of that is when you get these interiors, they're kind of massive fortresses or hidden layers or, you know, warehouses or whatever, and those are the interiors in the game, or the special kind of assassination moments.
Jade, we miss you, dude. You are so much cuter than me. You need to come back. Take my job. Take it. Just take it. Just take it. Quit Assassin's Creed. You.
Oh my God, sometimes I get so emotional watching some of these segments. I miss those two very much. Hope you're doing very well, Julie and Jade.
Aw, so precious. That's so sweet. Listen, don't go anywhere because after the break, we've got to take a look at the new Ratchet and Clank, and it's just called Ratchet and Clank.
That's right.
I thought it was time to get you a new run.
This episode of EP Daily is brought to you by Collective Minds, the makers of the PS4 Cool and Charge stand and the Xbox One Media Hub, available at EB Games.
Welcome back to EP Daily. We have got a magic mirror that allows us to look into the future.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. So this is Scott now taking a look at the new Ratchet and Clank, which is a game based on the movie based on the game.
I've always dreamt of being a galactic ranger, doing big things like Captain Quark.
You don't have what it takes.
I'm here with James Stevenson from Insomniac Games. They've got a new game, or is it, called Ratchet and Clank. James, tell me what's going on here.
So Ratchet and Clank is our new start for the series. It's the game that's based on the movie, based on the game. It comes out next spring alongside the major motion picture, and we basically went back to the first Ratchet and Clank game, and we've reimagined everything. It's updated modern controls, new Clank gameplay, brand new bosses, new levels. It's going to be familiar for fans a little bit, but completely different, and a great new entry point for new fans of the series as well who see the movie and enjoy it.
Stop. Clank gameplay, new Clank gameplay? Tell me, what's he doing now that he couldn't do before?
Well, we haven't shown it yet, but we have all sorts of new puzzles and new design for Clank gameplay. The weapon arsenal in this game is new. It takes weapons from across the entire series. There's some brand new ones. Every gameplay segment, if you remember the first game, you couldn't strafe. The weapons were called gadgets, so they were just kind of gadgets that shot ammo and things. So we've updated the arsenal, the weapon upgrade system, and the RPG elements that the series is well known for weren't in the first game. That's in now. James Arnold Taylor, the guy who played Ratchet from the second game on, didn't play him in the first game, so we now have him in the origin story as well. Plus an hour of new cutscenes, footage from the movie. There's lots of new stuff here.
I thought it was time to get you a new run.
I've loved the pairing of these two together. It's kind of like me and Vic. I'm the smart one, and Vic is the one who's stronger and does all the activities in the game.
You ride on his back.
And I ride on his back mostly. But what sort of new touches are scattered around? Can you give me a tangible example of one?
Sure. So one of the, if you've seen the Metropolis segment that's probably getting played behind me, in the original game we had like a train sequence. You're on a train. It was like 4 carts. They're all flat. The enemies couldn't move because on the PS2 we didn't have the power to make them move on these moving platforms. Now it's this gigantic long, set piece sequence with all these different cars. There's animal cars. There's, a car that has speeders that you knock off so you can move through. There's more enemies. It's much more beautiful. Or another example, we go to the planet Gaspar, and in that level was a really small Ratchet and Clank level. We've added a huge exploration section where you get to use the jetpack from Ratchet and Clank into the Nexus and fly around the level hunting these brains. And so there's levels have been completely reimagined, and we've added tons of new segments and also taken the best stuff from the future series and the later Ratchet and Clank games and brought it back to this origin story game.
Ratchet and Clank has been around for so long. I think the original came out in 1967, and somehow it's still relevant, though, and you guys continue to make these characters and the relationship relevant. Tell me, what's new in the way that these two interact that maybe we haven't seen before? Do they finally kiss here?
No kissing, but I think it's definitely the tenor of the relationship. If you remember that first game, there was a lot of abrasion between the two, and I think it's definitely kind of evolved into more of, if you think about the future series, a lot about the heart and the relationship between the two. I think you'll see some of that injected back into this game, into the relationship between the two in this game. So that'll be a little bit different. You're also going to see some brand new characters in the story that weren't there the first time around. The film has some great new characters, like a mentor for Ratchet and some other stuff. So you're going to see some new dynamics to the story. Plus, in the game, game, if you see the game doesn't just follow the movie story. The game is the story from the perspective of Captain Quark. So you're going to hear the way he saw all this happen, and you're going to get to see kind of the things that happened in between the scenes of the movie and the planets and adventures that occurred in between things in the movie.
We want you!
Mark your calendars, Ratchet and Clank Ites. Both the movie and the game come out in April 2016.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got your Twitter question of the day.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It is now time for the best part of today's show. It's the Twitter question of the day. This is
from Kyle?
No, it's not from Kyle.
Oh, okay.
This one is from the Eradicator. He is at the Eradicator 1. Okay, I guess 0
was taken.
must have been taken. Yeah. He says, when you film EP Daily with Victor Lucas and Scott C. Jones, who is the biggest prankster of you three? Well, let me tell you something. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think Jones probably has the most quips and jokes that give us no time for that.
No, that's
right?
true,
It slows us down a little bit, but he makes us laugh, and he fights with our cameraman Enzo quite a bit, so that's always entertaining to watch.
Well, we all fight with Enzo. It's kind of fun. We love him so much.
Yeah.
He's my bro. But listen, we do. I don't know. I guess we tease each other a lot, but I wouldn't say prank.
Yeah, we don't really have a lot of time for that. We should build time into the schedule to prank each other a
I
little.
threatened to touch Victor Lucas's hair.
No! Please don't do that. Good question. If you've got one for us, go to epn.tv, and don't forget to check out our videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/EPNTV. Thank you for your support.
That's right. In our next episode of EP Daily, we've got a look at the new Mighty No. 9 with Keiji Inafune.
Can't wait for that. Thanks for watching, everybody.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
It's easy to get into this kind of genre, and it's challenging. It takes time to get better. That's why I think people like this kind of genre.
And who exactly is the Mighty No. 9? Is that a specific character, or what happened to the other 8?
主人公ベックっていうのはですね。
So Mighty No. 9, the main character Beck, is the youngest sibling of this whole Mighty Numbers. Actually, the Mighty Numbers is a team that compete in what we call the Battle Coliseum in the robot combat tournament. And they are actually the strongest team. However, Beck is actually the weakest link. When this whole robot virus break out, Beck is the only one who didn't get affected. So it's now up to him to save his brothers and sisters fighting against them.